All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Please silence your cell phones. Tonight we have Rosalba Dominguez and Gary Harekesi are both excused for this meeting, so they will not be joining us tonight. And we will start the meeting with our call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance. And Sherry Van Bibber has graciously volunteered. She volunteered. She begged me to do it. Could she do the Pledge of Allegiance? And I said, we'd love it. Come on up, Sherry, and we'll do the pledge with you.
Everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sherry. We appreciate you. All right. We've got two different minutes for approval tonight, one from council meeting February 15th, 2022, and one from council meeting March 1st, 2022. Are there any corrections? Otherwise, I will take a motion.
Can I do them both together?
Absolutely.
Hey, I would like to make a motion of approval of minutes of council meeting February 15th, 2022, and the council meeting minutes for March 1st, 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're going to start out with special recognition today. We're going to consider a joint resolution of the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, declaring Friday, May 6th, 2022 as Murray Arbor Day. Mayor Brett Hales and Darren Bird presenting.
Thanks for joining me here, Darren. I'll read this and then I'll let you say whatever you want to say. So, all right. Thank you, Kat. Okay. So as Kat said, I'm not going to read all this, but whereas Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and even throughout the world on April 29, 2022, as trees, wherever they're planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas no exact value can be placed on a tree, as the true value is the eyes of the beholder, and the emotional spiritual relationship between people and trees is far-reaching and complex. Whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil from wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, as well as provide fun, shade, cover, and even safety for us and other living creatures. And whereas in preparing for the future, Murray City is committed to managing the confined spaces along the streets and near buildings, so we have a peaceful coexistence between trees, utilities, buildings, and people. And whereas Murray City's Shade Tree and Beautification Commission has as its prime objective the beautification of our city by promoting the planting and care of trees and vegetation that will continually add beauty and value to our community, making it more enjoyable and desirable place to work, play, and live. As a Tree City USA now for over 45 years, we are reminded that Murray is a city without equal. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the municipal council of Murray City do hereby declare Friday, May 6, 2022 as Murray Arbor Day, and urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, to plant trees that will gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations while beautifying our city. And we will now turn it back to the council. And then is that okay if we do the passing of it and then have Darren speak? Okay, thank you.
Would you like a motion?
I would.
Okay. I will make a motion to adopt a joint resolution of the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, declaring Friday, May 6th, 2022 as Murray Arbor Day.
I second it.
Brooke?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to represent the Shade Tree and Beautification Commission. Just as a reminder, Murray City is the longest serving community with the Arbor Day Tree Foundation in Utah, and I think we only lack it by 1 year in the nation. I think Murray City came on the second year of the Tree Cities USA Foundation, but we have to meet certain criteria every year, and through the City Forester's Office, through Murray Power, we've been able to do that, so we're really proud of that designation. And then we invite all of you to the Arbor Day celebration on the first Friday in May at the amphitheater at noon. And we've invited the governor, and he has tentatively agreed to be there. You know, it's far enough out with his schedule, you never know. But also the state forester will be in attendance as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Ready? Ready to go?
Yes, if you want to take it away with our second special recognition today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Sherry, come on up. Sherry, do you have others with you or just you? Well, let's have them come up. Come on. See, they too asked if they could come up. No, they didn't. You know that. We're glad to have you with us.
We're also shy.
Yes. Did you hear? Sherry said we're all so shy. We know that's not true about Sherry. So I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then we'll ask you to pass that, and then I'm going to turn the time over to Sherry and to introduce your students with you. And is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So a joint resolution of the mayor and the municipal council of Murray City, Utah, in support of the Murray Exchange Club by recognizing and declaring April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas the children of Murray are the future of our state's success, and investing in their general welfare, safety, and livelihood are of the utmost priority. And whereas all children deserve to grow up in a safe and nurturing environment to assure they reach their full potential as they grow and develop. And whereas the protection of children and strengthening of families is the concern and responsibility of all Murray citizens, because of the wellness of children affects our lives now and will continue to affect us into the future. Whereas child abuse is a serious problem, with 149 confirmed child victims in the city of Murray last fiscal year, with each of those cases impacting an entire family and affecting the community as a whole. And whereas child abuse respects no racial, religious, socioeconomic, or geographic boundaries. And whereas all citizens of Murray need to become more aware of child abuse and its prevention within their respective communities, and actively encourage and support parents to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment. And whereas preventing child abuse requires each member of the community to be attentive to the problems of families around them and commit to do everything they can to help. Whereas the National Exchange Club has adopted this cause as its national project and is supporting parent aid programs, parenting classes, educational programs, and community service activities, and is helping to make significant progress in stopping this crime against families and children. And whereas the Murray Exchange Club members are active and positive participants in the city of Murray in accordance with the standards of the National Exchange Club. And whereas the Murray Exchange Club is anxious and appreciative to share this worthwhile cause and opportunity with Murray City. Now, for the mayor and city council of Murray, on behalf of the 50,637 citizens, proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we call upon all citizens to renew their commitment to be educated on the impact of child abuse and join in working for its prevention within our communities. Be it further resolved that in support of the Murray Exchange Club and this worthwhile cause, Murray City will fly the child abuse prevention flag in front of the City Hall under our flags from April 1st through April 30th, 2022. We are appreciative of the work, care, and concern that our victim advocates, police, and detectives put forth in dealing with these tough cases. It is our hope that those numbers will decrease as families develop healthy, caring, nurturing, and loving relationships. And be it still further resolved, we commend the Murray Exchange Club for their continued efforts in helping families break free from this vicious cycle of child abuse. Our nation's greatest asset is our children. All children deserve to grow up in a safe and nurturing environment to assure they reach their full potential. And we will now turn that back over to the council.
I'll take a motion.
I would like to make a motion of a joint resolution of the mayor and the municipal council of Murray City in support of the Murray Exchange Club by recognizing, declaring April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month.
I'll second.
Brooke?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Sherry, I'm going to turn the time over to you. And I know you're so shy, you're not going to say anything.
I was just stressed we were going to have to go take everything down if you voted us down for the proclamation.
Can I tell you, you don't need to be stressed because there's no way that was going to happen ever. Anyway, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk and then I'll say a few words.
No, we have our Murray Youth Excel Club, and we have 85 kids, so we couldn't fit everyone in here. But they're also our youth government. But under the Exchange Club, we have our Youth Excel. And one of the partnerships that we've taken on this year is to provide resources between food and clothes and whatever we can for our homeless youth in Murray. So that's something that this group has taken on full force, and we intend we've just begun. So we have a great group of support and going forward, and that ties right in with our prevention of child abuse. We just wanted to share because our numbers, the state last year had 10,564 cases. The county had 4,033. And in 2020 and 2021, 3616. We had, 147 cases. We're diminishing every year, and that's a great thing, but it's not great until we're at zero. So there were 87 cases of abuse in front of a child also. But we didn't lose any children this year, and that was a good thing where we did last year. So those are the things we just want to create an awareness. The Exchange Club works with prevention of child abuse with all the resources that we can get with housing and finances and things that when we need to get families away from and into a safe place immediately. So we tie in with the chamber and the city council if anyone ever needs to get a hold of us that way. But we also wanted to share, we've turned over the chamber golf tournament this year to prevention of child abuse too. So that's April 22nd. So we've decided to put the funds for that towards prevention of child abuse and our Haunted Woods. If anyone has ever heard of the Murray Haunted Woods, this year it's going to be the 24th, 25th, and 26th. Last year, we took it over from the city 7 years ago. And this past year, we made $20,000. That's a lot of $5 tickets. But that money we were able to turn back to our school clubs to, again, work towards prevention of child abuse. And some of the groups, YWCA, Taylorsville Family Shelter, South Valley Sanctuary, Murray Victims Advocates, Murray Midvale Family Center, Murray Children's Food Pantry are just a few of them. So when you see the Haunted Woods, we won't scare you. We have silly trails at the beginning and scary trails at the end. So no matter what, come out, spread the word, support that, because we get people from all over the state, literally, that come to that. Murray started it, and we'll just keep it going forward because it's such a great event, and the money now is going to such great things. So thank you for letting us share. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Yes, hello. I guess we're not really near anyone. Hi, I am Relina Pattison, and I'm like fourth generation Murray. So I've grown up here a long time, and I absolutely love to be here. And this year, I got to help organize and plan the Haunted Woods. And that was one of the most, I feel like just blessing things I've ever been able to do is meet some of these amazing people that help make it all worthwhile and then get to work with our youth volunteers to just make it all happen. And it's crazy that this is something that we're working towards in our community, which is so good because it doesn't get enough attention for how important and such a big issue that it is. So thank you.
And she's headed to Pepperdine.
Yeah.
So we're going to lose her.
Wow.
All right. And
I'm Sam Sywick. I don't actually live in Murray. I live in South Salt Lake, but I go to Murray and all of my friends are in Murray. So I love the community. It's where, like, I just love it. It's such a nice community. And I was just dragged here by my friend. So I didn't know what was going to be talked about, but hearing Sherry and the mayor talk about it, it was great. And I actually really liked where we're going. So I'm excited to see where we can go next.
And we have one more by there. Oh, yeah.
Isaac's shy. He won't want to talk.
No.
I know Isaac.
Yeah, he knows me. I'm Isaac Graham. I live here in Murray. I don't know. I'm first generation Murray, I suppose. I just love our city. I love how we have a small community, but a big community at the same time. We have a lot of love for each other. Even though we keep growing, we all know each other, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Aren't we lucky? Seriously, what kind of kids are these? These are awesome. Thank you. Sherry, thank you so much. Thank you very much. The future looks good, bright for Murray.
It does. Thank you. And thank you all for speaking and all the work you do. We really appreciate you. All right.
Yes.
Did you wanna say
Thank
something? Go
you. When we were out putting up those pinwheels and tying bows, and it was so much fun, and it was so fun to see you guys. So thank you for being here, and thank you for speaking. It was awesome.
Absolutely. All right, next up, this next part of the meeting is citizen comment. This is when you can speak about any topic. You'll have 3 minutes. You will have a form to fill out with Jennifer if you choose to speak, and then come up to the podium and do 3 minutes and keep an eye, and she'll tell you when the time is up. If you are here to speak on one of the public hearings, do wait until that period. There'll be another opportunity to speak then, but this time is for items that are not on the agenda. Go ahead.
This is Si. I will go back over there in just a moment. I just want you to be able to see. See his face. Thank you. Come on. Come here. Come. Lay down. Lay down. Stay. Sorry. I wanted to bring him along for a very specific purpose. My name is Lawrence Foreman. I reside within the boundaries of Murray City. Cy was actually found by a Murray police officer wandering loose a little over 2 years ago, and was kept in the Murray City shelter for about 30 days, and then was transferred to the Humane Society, where I met him and adopted him. His purpose in coming with me today is because my daughter and I were over at the West Valley City shelter, and we were looking at a dog for her to adopt. And the dog that she was looking at, short version, attacked him. That's why his face looks the way it does. It's been about a week and a half or so. He's healing up very well. I bring him to make a simple point. Those people who are homeless, nearly homeless, or in extreme poverty, people sometimes wonder why we have a dog or a cat or another animal like that. They are companions to us. They help us to get along in life and not feel like we are alone. They act sometimes as a means of a sense of security, both against possible theft and things like that, and just feeling secure in ourselves being around somebody else. And they're generally easier to take care of than your average human child. I'm sure if any of you have had pets will know that. But sometimes they need medical care that we can't afford to give them. And in this situation, I got lucky because of where it happened. The shelter is taking care of the cost for size, the stitches and things that he needed in order to get healed. But most people are not in that kind of a situation, and they need help with things like that. And so the point here is to encourage the city to join with the county and on their own in efforts to help those who have animals to get them certified, one, officially as companion animals, which is not a service animal. It just allows them to be with them if they do manage to find a place to live, like an apartment or someplace like that. That having those animals with them is like giving them up is like giving up a child to us. And it creates a huge barrier to being housed. So that's one thing. And the other thing is to help for those who do have something where their animal needs to be seen to by a vet, to get them in programs that will allow that to happen so that they can not only maintain their vaccinations, but any other more severe medical needs when on occasion they're necessary. Basically, that is why we are here today, is to advocate for such things. Thank you. Stop.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
Here.
Hello again. My name is Raylena Pattison, and I say it was a few weeks ago, back in January, I got a wonderful opportunity, actually help funded by Murray City, to go to Legislation Day at Utah, at the state capitol. And as a few of you know, Utah's actually getting a new flag. We've had a competition too. And when we were there, I got to go to a clinic to learn about flags and how important they are. And I have no idea how to pronounce the flag specialists, but flags are a big sense of pride in a city and in a state. And I was actually in this clinic and I was sitting with my friends and we were like, does Murray have a flag? And I went and we looked it up and we don't have a flag. And that shocked me because everyone here in Murray, we really love Murray. I think it's a fantastic city. It's a great place to live. And I would absolutely love for us to either have a contest or put it towards like the arts board to get our city a flag so we can show our pride and our representation of like how proud and happy we are to be a part of the city, because we were learning about like places like Chicago where they actually have a city flag and it's flown everywhere. It shows all these cool pictures of just how the pride and the community that it builds, just having a sense and a symbol of what we stand for and what we're proud of. So I would like to bring the ideas to our minds to get a city flag to help bring our pride and show our pride in our wonderful city. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak at this time?
I love the idea of a flag. That's really cool. I mean, if we did it, we could unveil it at Fun Days, like a big flag ceremony. So I actually wasn't going to say anything, surprise, surprise, but, and Patty asked, and I said, no, I'm just gonna, enjoy, but I was listening to the earlier meeting.
What is your name?
Sorry, I'm Clark Bullen, and I live in District 3, right over on Treetop. And I was listening to the Committee of the Whole meeting, and the portion that Brenda was doing about ARPA funds, and how there is 3.5 million-ish set aside for, it seems it was something about loss of funds, but it seemed like the purpose being is kind of in case of a rainy day, we could tap these funds for various different purposes. And just since from that time till now, I've just been thinking a lot about, because Brenda also said that, if Danny had his way, maybe he would, take all 5 million, and get the projects done sooner. And I thought, there are a lot of people that are hurting right now, with prices rising on lots of things, inflation, gas, various things, people on a fixed income. And that, if this money, that $3.5-ish million was set aside for a time of need, that maybe this is a time of need. And if that money in any way could ease the burden of, some of the rising fees that we have right now, I mean, I know that, there's a lot of people that would make a huge difference to. Now, I don't understand all the, and I'm sure that's been thought of, but I just, that's been going through my mind. And I thought, and I'm all about saving money for a rainy day, but maybe this is that rainy day. Maybe now's the time when we need it the most. So thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
My name is, pardon me. My name is Beverly Krangle. I live in Murray. I'm here to greet the mayor and council members and concerned citizens. I'm here to plead to make Vine Street safe. There are a couple of things that have changed since the last time I made the plea. Will Vine Street become known as the killer street and not in a good way, with many accidents and some deadly? Or will concerned Murray leaders take the opportunity to create a safe space for walking and biking for both children and adults, both able-bodied and especially for the disabled? Excess speed. Vine has often been a drag strip before current construction started to widen the road. And actually, just in the last couple of days, there have been some speeders, even with all the bumps and steel plates and everything. There have been people going really fast. Vine Street has often been a drag strip before the construction started. It is well known that adding a middle turn lane will exacerbate the problem and increase the speed of trucks and cars even more. Increased walking and biking. With the increasing cost of fuel, more children will be walking or biking to school. Only a 4-inch line will separate the speeding traffic from the bikers. Why not add rumble strips and at least a foot, just 12 inches of a striped visual barrier between the traffic lanes and the bike lanes to visually separate those two? There are few crosswalks between 2nd East, 200 East, and Highland Drive. There are only 4 crosswalks. That's over 1.5 miles. Nobody's going to walk 2 or 3 blocks before they cross a busy street. And once the middle turn lane is completed and the street is wide, people are not going to walk 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 blocks to cross. You're going to have kids and adults going from school or churches, church meetings, social events, school activities. And the few crosswalks we have, invariably there will be many problems. Having only 4 crosswalks and 2 of those have stoplights. The other ones just have the flags. Silent vehicles. With the onslaught proposed for electric vehicles, they further endanger the children and citizens, all citizens, especially in early or late hours. Since the electric vehicles are silent, people don't hear them coming. Before and after school activities will have people crossing in the dark, and they will not hear or see the vehicles coming, especially in the dark. Safety programs. For the last 2 decades, an awareness of the, quote, deadly epidemic of speed has led to many federal, state, and school programs. Would you be waiting to build the city hall and once it's built, then see if we need fire protection, gas protection, fire escapes, things like that?
That's your time.
Thank you. But
Thank
they're waiting
you.
for the finish to put any safety features in? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Then we will move on. There's nothing on the consent agenda this evening, so we'll move on to our public hearings. The first one is we're going to consider an ordinance amending the city's fiscal year 2021 to 2022, our budget, and it's Brenda Moore presenting.
So this is, we talked about this probably on the 8th of March. It's been almost a month. So I thought I would give you a reminder. It's my budget opening number 3. Jared. Oh, there it goes. So I have a list of items. Most of them are, there we go. Okay. So the first items on this budget opening are, we have received $5,000 to do an in-car camera. So we need to put that on there so that the police can receive it and spend it. They're forever buying cameras. That is their second most purchased item, I think, for the police department. One of the things that council needs approval for is when I move things between a salary budget area and our operations. I always like to get council's approval for doing that. As you know, we have some open positions for building inspectors. So if anybody knows any contractors or anybody with the trade wants to become a building inspector, we are hiring all the time. So I need to, we've been, because of those open positions, we have been hiring outside engineering firms to do this. So I need to reallocate some of the building department salaries down into professional services. That's $160,000 for this year. And then the other thing we do is I cannot move money between departments without council approval. Every year when we get that final little bit of property tax that the assessor says we are going to receive, I put it in non-departmental miscellaneous expense, waiting for something to happen that we haven't planned. And this one, I should have planned it because I know I did a bond for HB 244, a sales tax bond, but I forgot to put the interest in that I need to pay tomorrow or the next day. Actually, I think it's May 1st. So I'm going to reallocate some of that non-departmental miscellaneous expense into our debt service department to pay the interest on that sales tax bond. And I'm told we did a really good job. We got that at slightly under, or right around 2%. The last bond that they went out for was a GEO bond in a school district, highly rated, and it was 3.5. So we did a little good timing on that. Capital Projects Fund. This will appropriate $200,000 from reserves to replace the bench seats at the amphitheater with stadium seating. Don't be too excited. The 60-day delivery time went to 120-day delivery time. We're hoping to get them installed before winter next year. Thank you. Well, fall this year. It's my next fiscal year. My year runs June to June. It's all messed up. But they have been ordered, so hopefully you will say yes. The enterprise funds. In the wastewater fund, I think we talked about this. We are going to have them receive $1 million of our ARPA funds and allocate them to infrastructure projects. In the wastewater fund, we also need to, I'm increasing the impact fee revenue by $60,000 and appropriate it to salaries and benefits. We've had a couple people retire who had big payouts. They'd saved all 320 hours of vacation they could, their maximum of 80 hours of comp time that they could, and various other sick time and stuff. And that fund has only got 6 or 8 people in it. So it's really hard for them to cover those types of unexpected expenses. And they have received more impact fees than I budgeted by way more than $60,000. So they're still going to be over budget in that. And in the stormwater fund, we're going to appropriate $50,000 from their reserves to for cost overruns in the Walden Meadows project. That's the one that's going down 5400 South and hopefully will keep a whole bunch of neighbors from flooding. So we're doing that. They could have used the 500,000 from Vine Street to cover that we found other money for, but then they bought that truck instead. So, which was a good thing because they actually got it. One of the first trucks that we ordered and got within the same year of those, those types of trucks, which is amazing. So they just need a little more to finish that Walden Meadows project. And then the final thing is some housekeeping stuff that I like to have in the budget so that we can make sure that I don't get written up by the state auditor for various things. One is I know that I have budgeted less transportation sales tax than what we are going to receive. And so that is all spent out of the CIP fund. So I need to be able to adjust the budget of the transfer between the CIP fund and the general fund for that extra money so that we can spend that next year or the year after. Any ARPA funds that we have received and have not spent and have not been allocated, I will transfer over to the CIP fund and we can deal with them in that fund. It helps us keep our fund balance below the amount that the state likes it to be. And then any funds necessary to keep our unassigned fund balance near 26%. What that is there are some line items that we have in our budget that some years we spend and some years we don't, because we don't spend for maintenance of a piece of equipment if we don't need to, or we don't buy, like my department has a small equipment budget, about $2,500. Every year we don't need to buy a printer or two, but some years we do. We don't need to come running to you every time we need to buy a $100 or $1,000 printer. So we have it in there. We don't spend it. Anything over 26% that's left unallocated will get sent to the CIP fund. This allows me to basically do that. I would do it anyway, but it allows me to change the budget number so I don't go over budget in those line items and get written up for transferring too much money. Any questions?
Any questions? No? Thank you for the presentation, explaining it all line by line. We appreciate that. Helped us remember that meeting many weeks ago. If there aren't questions or concerns, I'll take a motion. Oh, it's a public hearing. It is a public hearing. Thank you. It is a public hearing. So if anyone would like to speak on the matter, you may come up to the microphone and you will have 3 minutes. I didn't mean to discourage you.
My name is Beverly, live in Murray. On the way over here, I heard a report in the news about the increase in shoplifting, and especially for small businesses. And I don't know if Murray's having that problem or not, but I also thought about the swimming pool and the increase in funds and how much it costs for a family to go swimming. And when I was growing up, we went swimming every day as young children. And I just wondered if some of the ARPA funds could possibly be used to help keep some of the kids, going and doing something active, improving their health and keeping them out of shops where they might shoplift otherwise. I don't know. It's just an idea that I thought, why not think of. Because the summer days are very hot and we have a lot of big families here, and a family of 4 plus parents would be a lot. Oh, sorry. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Would anyone else like to speak? All right. If not, I will close the public hearing. And is there any discussion? If not, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to adopt the ordinance amending the city's fiscal year 2021 to 2022 budget.
I second it.
Brooke?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are we all right? Okay. All right. Next up, we will consider a resolution approving the 2021 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program Report, and we have Ben Ford and Danny Astle presenting.
Appreciate it, Council and Mayor. A few minutes to present our Municipal Wastewater Planning Program report for the calendar year 2021. So this is we're going to do just a brief overview of the report. So this is a mandatory report required to be submitted to the state every year. It's a requirement of any state issued loans. Kind of gives general information system overview of the utility, the financial status of the utility. Goes over the system maintenance. We have to report on whether we've had any discharges, sanitary sewer overflows for the year in the report. Discusses operator certification. And then it goes over our sanitary sewer management plan compliance, as well as if we have a master plan. So we're just going to briefly touch on a few of those subjects. So our overall collection system, we have a grade 3 collection system, over 133 miles of pipe. And our system was first constructed in 1917, the first parts of our system. We have, in 2021, 95 new residential and commercial connections. That consisted of the Wynwood subdivision, Murray Cove, and Fashion Creek Court for the most part. So our total system, we service just the old part of Murray, not the east side of Murray, the annexed area. So we go basically up to 9th East, Cottonwood Improvement District, and Mount Olympus serve the other areas outside of our service boundary. So we have 3 wastewater lift stations within our system. And total, those service about 2,600 connections, and we pump about 709,000 gallons a day out of those lift stations. They're a very integral part of our collection system. So the financial overview part of the report. So it asks really just generalized questions. Do we have a dedicated enterprise account for the fund, which we do? Are costs sufficient to cover capital improvement projects coming up? And of course, with the latest rate increase, we are now in a position where we can cover those costs moving forward. We do charge an impact fee of $13.72 on any new home or business at a minimum. And then the average user charge for a residential home last year was $463.32. So there's 2 different classifications of sanitary sewer overflows. There's a class 1, which is a pretty significant spiller overflow. If that goes to a water of the state, more than 5,000 gallons, or affects more than 5 private structures, that's a class 1. Luckily, we did not have any class 1 discharges. That's a good thing. We did have 1 class 2 that affected one home on Clark Street earlier in the year. It was caused due to some roots in the line that we were unaware of. Since then, we have treated the line, cut the roots, and taken care of that issue, and it's been added to an annual root treatment list. So we have a company that comes in, Duke's Roots. They're based out of New York, that does all of our root treatments for the year, and we generally treat anywhere from about 8,000 to 12,000 feet within the system for the year to try and minimize those overflows. So the major components of how we keep our overflows down is our maintenance within our system. We have 2 combo cleaning trucks that clean and maintain the system. So with our 133 miles of pipe throughout the system, our goal is to try and get through that every 2 years. We typically get through that just about every year. This year we cleaned 113, so not quite there, but on average we typically get through the system every year. Another major component to our maintenance is our TV van operation. That's where we find the defects, the roots in the lines, the breaks in the pipe, cracks, stuff like that, infiltration coming in, exfiltration, stuff like that. So whenever we find any issues in the system, we fill out a defect report form and track it within our GIS system and put that on repair projects going forward. So like I said before, we're a class 3 system. I'm the chief DRC operator for the system. We have 5 other grade 4 operators that are DRC designated, 2 grade 4 operators that are non-DRC, and 2 grade 1 operators in our system. So our sanitary sewer management plan, this is kind of our living document, basically, the why we do what we do plan. So we are required to audit this plan every year, at least a quarter of it. We try and do a full audit every year. When we did the audit this year, the only thing that we found that needed to be updated was our standard operating procedures. And that's kind of a small portion of the permit that needs to be filled out every year, but a big part of how we function. So our master plan, we just updated our master plan in conjunction with Hanson Allen Luce Engineering helping us out doing that. And it was adopted in June of this year. And that identifies all of our CIP projects moving forward. And that also included a capacity assurance plan with hydraulic modeling of the collection system. That's a major part of the permit that needs to be filled out, is making sure during your hydraulic model that you're not going to have any overflows in the system. Pipes are being triggered at a certain percentage, which is 70%, to be full. And that's our trigger point to start design for a project when it hits that point. So in conclusion, overall, our collection system, even though it's a little bit older system, it's in good shape. We have a good handle on where our trouble spot issues are, and they're maintained on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, kind of determined on the issues. And then we have all of our lines. When we do find issues, they get put on a list, a rehab list, whether it's manholes or lines, depending on the severity. And we put them on a list to be repaired. And all 3 of our lift stations in the system are in good operational condition. So that is kind of the gist of a good summary of the report. Do you have any questions I can answer?
I have a couple.
Okay.
In our packet, we got where you filled out yes, no questions. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Well, one of the questions is, do you have a water and or sewer customer assistance program? And it was quoted that no, we don't have that. Has the city ever looked into something like that, or do we not look into something like that, or?
You want to answer that?
We have never looked into it as far as the wastewater group. We haven't. That's more on the financial side of it, but I think the question is kind of leads into the HEAT program.
Oh, okay.
And that's really what the question is do we have a program like that? And we don't, because there's other opportunities for the assistance for low income or what it might be.
Okay. And let me see. I have my pages folded. Oh, and like you said, it was quite interesting that what year was collected the system first constructed was 1917. I thought that was, wow, that's really interesting. And so anyways, and let's see. Is there a written policy regarding continuing education and training for wastewater operators? And you happen to say no. They was answered no, and I'm just curious. Are we looking into something for that?
So we don't have a written set in stone policy, but our policy is we pay for certification tests, training. We do pay for everything. We just don't have a written policy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
So it is covered.
Tricky question.
Yeah. Technically, we do not have a written policy, but we do cover it and pay for it.
Okay.
My question would be, why don't you have a written policy?
I don't know that it's honestly been needed in the past. That is a great question. We have just always covered expenses, training expenses, testing expenses. It used to be the policy where we would not cover a test until the person had passed it, but we have since changed that. So every opportunity the employee wants to go take the test, we cover it and pay for the test on the certification.
But if it isn't written, it's really not a policy.
It's a standard
just a promise.
It's a standard procedure in the wastewater and in water as well. But it goes further than that. It's a standard procedure in all of public works. So anytime that somebody is doing a certification, we pay for that training to make sure that they're certified. So we don't have a written policy, but it's an operational policy, an internal.
Okay.
And we can put something together. I mean, that's not a big thing. So if that's our direction that the mayor would like to give to us, we're already doing it.
Yeah, before I say anything, I always have to look at GL, so.
We have a smart mayor.
With your picture of the crew, have you looked into hiring maybe one more for each level, or is that not? You know, that picture where you had each level.
When you say hiring more for in each level, what's that?
Well, you know the picture? I don't know if you could turn it back to the picture where you quoted each of the levels.
Are you asking if they're fully staffed?
Yeah, 5 grade. Have you ever thought about hiring one more because of retirement, so they're up to speed?
They do get replaced. So anytime somebody retires, it does get, that individual will be replaced. And each of these operators have the opportunity to go to that grade, to that upper DRC level. It's just where they're at. So the ones that are, the two that are the grade 4 operators, not quite DRC yet, they just need some more experience because you have to have a minimum number of years to be a direct responsible charge individual. The other two, the grade 1 operators, they're just starting out.
Okay.
So we're fully staffed.
Okay. Right.
Any other questions? Okay. If there aren't any other questions, do you have anything else that you guys wanted to share? Okay.
I don't think so.
It is a public hearing, so if anyone from the public would like to speak at this time, I'll open up the public hearing. Okay. With that, then, if no one is interested in speaking at this time, I will close the public hearing. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I will take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the 2021 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program report.
I'll second.
Brooke?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. We are done with our public hearings for today, and we'll move on to our business item. Consider a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of a representative to the NeighborWorks Governing Board. Mayor Hales presenting.
Thank you, Kat. Jared, you want to come up? Let's get you up here. You don't hardly come up, so.
I was here to hear the sewer report.
Yeah, I'm sure you were here to the sewer report.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff. That's right. All right. Tammy's been trying to get us to change that name, and we've decided we're keeping that. We really want to put Jared on this board. I'm telling you, listen to him. Okay, I'm just here to present Jared Hall as asking that he be an appoint. Excuse me. We'd like to appoint Jared as a representative to the NeighborWorks Governing Board, and we would ask for a confirmation from the council.
I would take a motion.
You got it. I will make a motion to approve or to adopt the resolution approving the mayor's appointment of a representative, which is Jared,
Correct,
to the NeighborWorks Governing Board.
I second it.
Aye. Brooke?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amazing.
I just want you to know, Jared, that you passed, but Pam went, I approve? I mean, she was, I don't know if that was a question or.
We all were a little.
I really got, yes, it was like, yes, okay.
I heard the question too.
You did too. All right, oh, you're good. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Jared, for being willing to serve.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
Did you want to say any words to accept this honor, Jared, or are you going to have a.
I feel a lot of pressure too.
You don't have to.
I would just say, no, I really, really looking forward to it. And I've been talking to Allison at the NeighborWorks board, and they'll be, I think on the 20th is their formal approval of that and accepting me on that board. And I'm just really excited to get working with them. So I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your support.
We are glad to have you there.
Thank you.
Excited to fill this spot. So thank you. And Mr. Mayor, do you have anything to report?
There we go. The only thing I was going to bring up, I thought when I've been doing the budget, and Diane, I know you know this, and I'm trying to think if does Rosalba represent the East Side, some of the East Side also, or is it just you and Gary? Yeah, okay. As we've been doing the budget, I thought, you know what, I knew this as a council member, but go ahead, what? Okay. Anyway, I knew this as a council member, but when I've been watching the budget, I thought, wow, you know what? The power department gives roughly $4 million to our city, and the East Side does not benefit from the power, but they benefit from the money because they don't have the power up there. But, and I know, like I said, I know you know that, but as I've been doing this, I thought our East Side members benefit big time property taxes because of all that money we get donated from the power department. And that's just been on my mind. I thought I need to remind everyone that, and probably more me than anyone, to remember that that's a lot of money that we give to the entire budget that lowers all property taxes to remain as low as they've been throughout the state.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So thank you. That's it. Thanks for your support. We appreciate you guys.
Any questions? No? All right. If there are no objections, we are adjourned. There you go.